A dad's business of home improvement or join the Army and see something other than the hometown I was in. I opted to go see the world, and I tell you what, back then it was the Army was Reagan era. Reagan was the president. He was building the military back up. You could go to a recruiter's office and you could get a job that you wanted to do, a location you wanted to go to the school, a location you wanted to be stationed first. And me as a young 17-year-old got my dad and mom to authorize me to get in the Army, needed permission. It was the start of one hell of a ride, and 38 years later, here I am. Along the way, I got them to, I started off as a helicopter mechanic way back when. Ended up being a field artillery sergeant major at the last day I got out of the Army. In between the amount of adventure and excitement, places we've been, of the most important being that I met my wife, the ultimate German souvenir. I was assigned to Germany, and I met my bestie, the love of my life, my wife, and she's been with me for most of my Army career. The ups and downs, the times when I was in trouble, the times I was cursing or being cursed at. She's got a chance to be part of that. I will say I lived in that bubble, and the bubble that I lived in as a soldier was one that I really had like the horse with the blinders of what's expected of me, where am I supposed to go, what am I supposed to do. I thought everybody knew what we were supposed to do. And then it really took until the latter part of my career, probably the last 5 to 10 years of close to 40, to recognize the majority of people in America don't know what we do. My sister to this day, bless her soul, has no clue what I do. She thinks I run around with a rifle and shoot people all day long. And okay, that's what I do. I mean, at the point of understanding what is asked of us and what we end up doing, that conversation can't go very far unless two things are certain. And that's support of good family, whether it's your parents, your siblings, your spouse, and support of the community, like the SOS organization. It took me a while to recognize we can't do it on our own, and it takes maturity to recognize that. While we got opportunities to go places, because the Army more or less is, I picked, after my aviation career, I came back into the service after some time in the reserve. That's how I got 38. For you guys that are active duty, how do you get 38? Yeah, there's a trick to it. You stay on reserve status. Technically, I'm getting paid and my retirement pay as an E9 over 38. How do you do that? It's really the reserve time. Some National Guard guys have figured it out too, and that's how some of them, you'll hear they get paid for 40-something years. But along the way, again, President Reagan, I can keep going with, who came after Reagan? Bush. And then after Bush, Clinton. And then after Clinton, Bush. Regardless of who is in the White House, the job of being a soldier, going to these places, it's not bragging, because there's people out there that have had more deployments than I, that are constantly saying goodbye to their family, going somewhere because that's where they're supposed to go. 11 deployments meant that I spent so much time away from my family. I couldn't have done that if I didn't have faith in my God, faith in my heart, that family and the extended family, the community would care for me and make sure I was taken care of. So I had that euphoric hope that all is well. If anything happens, I got that. But again, as I mentioned, it wasn't until the last 10 years of the revolving door deployments to the Middle East. Some of you might be quite aware that it's the longest war we've ever had in Afghanistan, in this country. The longest ever. It's still going on. There's still guys out there today, guys and gals, that might not make it home tonight. That revolving door put us in a cycle and a mindset of pack your bags, go do what you gotta do, say goodbye, etc., and then say hello, welcome home, and then prepare for more training and do it again. Repeat, wash, and that whole cycle. But the one thing that I noticed consistent was, in order for us as Department of Defense, all branches, so I'm speaking on Army for personal experience, the only way for us to be successful at that was to learn the lessons from the previous deployments and apply it forward. Not that everything's going to be the same, because the enemy has a say in changing things up, but the dynamics of being prepared emotionally, physically, what you put in your bag, what you put in your heart, and then going and coming back. A lot of that needed, and it was emphasized, and I was the biggest advocate: strong family, strong spirituality, strong physical body, and strong health and health conditions, and then of course the strong love in your heart for your family helps. The extended family, my first deployments to the Middle East, we didn't have the store on the camp that you could go and buy your tobacco, your toothpaste, your toiletries. You didn't have it. So you were told to pack these 2 bags and get on that airplane, but by the way, since you and your body armor weigh 200 pounds and your weapon and everything else weigh another 200, you can't take nothing. You literally had to count how many extra pair of underwear and extra socks you had because you could only put so much weight on the airplane. Those first couple of deployments were pretty austere. I've actually told this story, and a lot of people call bullcrap, but it's the truth. I did not get a bona fide shower for almost 6 months on my first deployment. Has anybody gone 6 months without a shower? I will tell you, it's not a pleasant experience. At that time, the only vibrancy that we had was the USO. It was the only agency, and of course, it was kind of like it's like 1 minute after Thanksgiving dinner when they open the stores and it's Black Friday and everybody's running in to buy it and it's gone. When those boxes and those care packages came for USO, and you had baby wipes or you had toilet paper or toothpaste, they were gone. And I can't overemphasize how important they became and the people that provided them, like SOS. And very specifically, this woman here, whether she knows it or not, there's a relationship that we have and we're always going to have. On the back of my truck, you see that beautiful, I say beautiful Red Dragon with cross cannons. My battalion was called the Red Dragon Battalion, the 3rd Battalion of the 82nd Field Artillery. It was out of Fort Hood. That unit has since been deactivated. It's now on the registry as a historical unit. No one serves in that unit anymore. If World War IV comes around, they may activate and put new people to that job. But there's a part of my heart that will never go, is that I was that last command sergeant major of that unit. Our last deployment that we actually did in Afghanistan, and we came home shortly thereafter and had to shed a tear, roll up the flag, and kind of remember all of those that went before us. I have to go back a little bit, but prior to that, in 2011, at that time, Captain Dave Marcoux and Captain Kelly Marcoux, they ran a consolidated aid station. Basically, they used one building because they were, there weren't that many available that actually had roofs and walls, electricity, and stuff like that. And so they used a consolidated aid station. I think it was BSB 49 and 382 used the same aid station? Or
49 came later when they fell under our casualty.
Okay, but initially then it was the BSB and our support brigade battalion, which Kelly was the physician assistant, and she basically screened all of those guys and made sure the medical care, the medics are doing the right thing, they're being cared the right way. Dave did the same for 382. He let me know. I walked in one time, and I was the first sergeant of that unit. I walked in, and I'd swear I walked into a general store. I mean, he had built up shelves, and it was there. I could see toilet paper, toothpaste, you name it, toiletries, candy, snacks, and I kind of wondered, where'd this come from? And that's when he put me in touch and told me what SOS was, and Teresa specifically. So whether you know it or not, our relationship started right then. You started caring for my soldiers without even knowing me, without even knowing my soldiers. Sight unseen, the level that you gave them meant a couple things. They felt that somebody was caring for them when possibly nobody else was, or no one was even thinking about them. Everybody wanted to raise a beer on Memorial Day and Veterans Day, but the day by day, the mundane, doing it over and over again, you were able to care for them, which makes you part of that Red Dragon family. When we went in 2014, I was aware of the program. In fact, when Dave said he was going to get it vibrant again on Bagram Air Base, which we had the street was called Disney Boulevard. I don't know why they called it that, but there was stores and merchants and everything there, but the reality still comes true. Just because there's a store there doesn't mean that this young soldier who has a wife and 3 kids can afford $1 out of his salary to buy nice to have or I'd like to have stuff. So your agency, the SOS being able to provide that, it cared for everybody. So the second time around when we were in Afghanistan, you were again a part of that extended family. Now, as a sergeant major, we're used to kind of taking the time to acknowledge, and as I saw today, there's a certificate of appreciation and a flag that was flown in your honor. But I never got to personally thank you one-on-one. As a sergeant major, we show our gratitude not just by hot air and words, but also there's a tradition we have. We have what's called challenge coins. They're tokens of our appreciation, and they're normally minted coins where it has different things combined on it, where it have heraldic stuff like the shoulder patch, the unit crest, and maybe for this one it has our cannons, our radar, and it has of course our Red Dragon. This was the coin that I had as a first sergeant when we were in Balad in 2011. And I never got to give that to you to say thank you for all the Red Dragon soldiers clearly all passed because now the unit's deactivated. That was thank you for what you did for us in Balad in Iraq. And then as the command sergeant major, which that's my little rank on the coin there, and again, this was us, there's a beautiful red dragon once again. When we were in Afghanistan, we didn't have any coins, so I actually went out and paid out of my pocket and got some minted to make them personalized, but I never got a chance to say thank you. And this is one of my last coins that I had as a sergeant major. Not only do you own them, or own them and earn them, but I hope you put them in a place of pride. And I hope you show it to other people and brag about it. Because the history of that unit, we could not do what we've done in places where we've been if we didn't have the support of family, and you are family. You'll always be a Red Dragon to me. So thank you,
Same
Teresa.
thing to you guys. I mean, we love you guys, and Dave, we appreciate you so much.
And now I'm retired, so now basically I'm just going around and advocating for the young soldiers to stay connected to the past, pay it homage, pay it forward. And again, thank you everything for SOS. I even told Teresa that I'm hanging my hat in the Fort Hood area, and for you guys around Texas, you know Fort Hood is pretty big.